And then trudging back to your house and, another night of taking the trash out. No one appreciates me.
And if the egg sinks, we must burn it. Yeah, we got cars on the left. Okay, I'm in a street. Okay,
You're blocking me.
Guten Tag and welcome to Patchwork. My name is Dion. I'm with Christian
Welcome to Patchwork.
and Josh.
welcome to Patchwork. I went to the dentist last week, went to Dr. Blood, and I've known this for a while, but I actually quite like going to the dentist. It's a very relaxing experience for me. I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but I like, you're sitting there, you're lying down, hands in the mouth, having a fiddle. I quite enjoy it. with your teeth. And as I was sitting there and, when they're moving around to different parts, I realised it's the only time in my life when I'm conscious of what my tongue is doing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I need to move it top. He's bottom right. Okay, I gotta go top left. Go top left. Oh, he's coming top left now. I gotta go right.
I feel as though when I'm at the dentist, the biggest thing that I'm conscious of is how uncontrollable my saliva production is. Yeah. It's just absolutely out of control. And I'm so embarrassed because I can feel myself dribbling over my lip, but I know that they've given me a bib for that reason.
And I'm so conscious of the assistant that is suctioning up the saliva, and I'm so judgmental of whether she's doing or whether he's doing. It's usually she, whether she's doing a good job or not by the amount of saliva that's accumulating in my tongue bucket.
What is it about the assistant, the dental assistant, that she always has to be so incredibly attractive?
And so nice. They're all lovely. They're all lovely women.
They're amazing and they're so helpful and they smile all the time and it's such a welcoming atmosphere. But I honestly couldn't disagree with you more, Josh. I hate the dentist. I don't find it relaxing. And do you know what? I have, and I would put my hand up and say, being 100% honest, I'm pretty sure I've got the best dentist in the world.
Oh, we've talked about this already,
No,
I'm sure
no,
I'm willing to back him or her.
No, we haven't, and I'm never proud of my professions because I don't use professions. That's the thing. This is very rare for me that I will seek one out, and this was a recommendation from my mum, and I go to who are known as the Smile team.
I got a smile as well.
No, Smile. You've shortened it.
And I love how it had the word smile in it, and I immediately thought it has to be the same dentist.
It's like the Seinfeld episode, back in business. Anything that's like a dentist thing that's called Smile, it's going to be shit.
I thought you were saying it was a back store.
Called Back in Business.
Oh, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah. It's an immediate image of them selling new backs. Fresh backs.
Excuse me, I've got a disc bulge in L4. Do you have a replacement vertebrae that I could...
Amazing.
Disc 4, aisle 3. There you go.
How often do you see the dentist? Do you go every 6 months, 12 months?
It's pretty irregular. But I was thinking the main thing with these professions, you get a haircut every few months.
Yeah.
You get a few weeks.
We go to the physio if you get injured or something.
And the thing is, with going to the dentist, I find a lot of people, they kind of prepare for the visit. And I think that goes completely against the point of it. So it's like, I'm going to the dentist, I better brush my teeth a lot and stuff. And I'm like, no. The point is to give them a good example of what your normal life is when you're presenting there. So I never brush my teeth when I go to the dentist.
Christian, do you agree with that?
I'm the culprit of that.
Idiot.
I floss before I go and I brush twice. I'm really into it. And the biggest issue is that when you floss your teeth after you haven't flossed for a while, number one, you draw blood.
Yeah.
Number two, your gums swell. So it's a more painful experience for the dentist. So you know what I've done? I started to fucking floss.
Oh, that's good.
So I got into a flossing routine and I'm counting down the days. April 20, my next dentist appointment. It's been 6 months. And when I get in there and he looks at my teeth and he's expecting me not to have flossed. And when he sees my teeth, I'm going to go, you betcha.
How do you lie when you go to the dentist? Because the last time, I've got this plate that I have to wear when I go to bed. It's like a little mouth guard thing. And the last time I went, she was like, have you been wearing your plate? And I was like,
But that's it. Like, the reason you floss before you go is because people are afraid to disappoint their dentist. Yeah. And it's like you're back at, you're like, I'm sorry, I should have done better.
But you're really disappointing yourself.
That's right. And your family. And your mouth. The one thing as well that I really struggle with when you go to someone as irregularly as the dentist is I've got a really lovely dentist. I see her every 6 months, but the conversation you almost have to hark back and try and remember the last thing you talked about. And it's and I did it really well. Like the other day I went to the dentist and I said to her, weren't you going to Africa or something.
No, it was like,
That's right.
My dentist, again, why he's the best fucking dentist in the world, he types notes and gets his assistants to type
While
notes
he's looking in your mouth.
about your conversation.
That's
So when you
ridiculous.
come in, next time he'll be like, now last time we saw you, you were doing the comedy festival show, as I remember.
That's pointless because he's not actually remembering it. Like,
No.
it matters if it's a friend who remembers what you're
Yeah,
doing. You're like,
that's
that's
right.
great, you remember.
That's
Not
right.
you took notes from 6 months ago.
Do you know what I appreciate about that?
The note taking.
Number one, the note taking. Number two,
He's able to do it while he's looking in your mouth.
He's doing the work for me. He's preparing the conversation.
Christian, do you want your hairdresser to do that?
Refer to episode 1.
And I feel like the hairdresser will just write down, had a mundane conversation just with everyone in the notes for everyone in his little pocket book.
So when we go to these professions, I was thinking the way we prepare, you brush your teeth. I was thinking of other professions you might do that with. And I thought, imagine if before you go to the hairdresser, you're like, I better have a quick snip. Better have a quick snip. You'll be embarrassed with how long it is.
Snipping your own hair before.
You're just embarrassed. You get embarrassed about your teeth. You're like, this is a mess. I'm sorry. What am I doing with my hair? I don't know.
Imagine the hairdresser. Oh, Josh, look how long this is.
What have you done this time? What have you not done this time?
So, Dion, you brought this up before, which is my ethnic heritage being Italian. So I've got a big, fat Italian family. Like, we're big and we're fat and we're hairy and we're greasy and we're smelly and we smell like basil and we smell like olive oil and garlic and oregano and Adidas. Anyway. But it also means that I have a nonno and a nonna, which is grandpa and grandma, which we've touched on in the past. Now, even I know that on a scale of how Italian you are, my grandparents sit like really close to like a basil plant. Like, they're really Italian. And
How Italian? Basil plant.
Basil plant.
This has a pizza.
So really Italian then.
and especially my nonno, like he's super Italian. He's got this massive vegetable garden and like this big lounge room which no one's allowed to use, and this big great Italian cock. And anyway, I've come to accept all these things, and it's just generally part of his Italianness. But I think this morning he's like taken it far too far. So I've arrived at his place, and I visit him. I try to visit as often as I can. And we went for a walk through his veggie patch, which is what we do. And so we went for like a 5-minute walk through, and what he does, he kind of like picks out every single vegetable and he goes through like what's good about them, and he often describes them as being beautiful. So he'll be like, oh, look at these beans, look how beautiful. Look at these zucchini, they're not beautiful yet. So that's the kind of spectrum, is being beautiful. But we kind of spend the most amount of time like looking at the tomatoes, which are his babies. So he's got about 8 plants, which will individually yield probably about 10 or so tomatoes at any given time. So
Is that a good yield?
10 tomatoes, probably a less than average yield.
Okay,
It's been a particularly bad
It's not
year.
a beautiful yield.
It's been a bad year for tomatoes. For anyone listening.
Tomatoes, they're down in the polls.
So basically, on any given day that you're going to his place, there's probably going to be about 80 tomatoes on the plants.
That's actually heaps.
Yeah. So from my maths, that's just too many tomatoes for a nonno and nonna to consume.
Yep.
So because there were no tomatoes on the plants today, I wandered to the fridge and I was thinking like there'd be this big great haul of tomatoes in the fridge. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to steal these. It'll be great. So I opened the door and there were 3. And I was like, that's kind of shit. Where the fuck are the tomatoes? So I was like, oh wait, they've got a second fridge downstairs. So I went downstairs to that fridge. Yeah. Opened it up. No tomatoes.
Oh.
It was just like 8 1.5 litre Kinottos that were all like out of date in 2003. But anyway, I was like really perplexed about it. And I was like, the maths doesn't work out. If there's 80 tomatoes for them to pick at any given time, and there were none on the vine, and then none in the fridges, and our family hadn't received any as gifts, so where the fuck are all the tomatoes? So let's better set the scene. We're currently in the middle of a small heat wave in Melbourne. My grandparents don't know how to work their air conditioner, so it's usually the same temperature inside their house as it is outside. So anyway, I walk back up the stairs into their kitchen just as Nonno and Nonna were sitting at the table In the most basic way I can describe this, in front of me were my very fucking Italian grandparents licking frozen tomatoes like icy poles.
It's brilliant.
Inside the freezer, there were a good 60 tomatoes frozen. And in the center of the table, a tomato with a fork in it for me. That was it.
So what were they? So just that is incredible. What were they? Were they just holding the tomato in their hand, or was there a fork stuck in the tomato?
On the fork, licking the frozen tomato.
What was your reaation when you went in there? Did you just lose your shit, or did you?
Do you know what I did? I just walked in and I was like, okay. So I picked up the fork and started licking the tomato. Because what do you do? What do you do? You can't tell these people.
That's what you do.
You can't tell them, well, this is odd behaviour, because they're both doing it and they're both perfectly fine with it.
Do you know what I really want to do? I really want to Google frozen tomatoes, like in inverted commas, and for there to be no results and no one's ever done it before. It's the first time it's ever been done. My dad does frozen bananas. They're delicious.
Frozen bananas?
But he bites straight into them as well.
Oh.
With the peel.
No, not with the peel, you idiot.
Excuse me,
Bite
I freeze
straight
my
in.
bananas with the peel on.
Do you really?
Absolutely, use them for smoothies and stuff.
Why do you need...
Why do you need a frozen banana?
No, why do you need the peel on? Isn't it really hard to peel when it's fucking frozen?
No, it's easy. It's super easy.
So
But it's frozen.
It is I understand that. But hang on a second. You're both fine with putting a peeled banana inside the freezer where any number of bacteria could exist. Albeit moving very slowly.
Are there any particular foods that you freeze before the expiry date? Or sometimes it's just too long gone?
Freeze for me is like you start it in the freezer or you forget it.
Really?
Yeah, I won't have something for a little bit and then freeze it. I'm like straight in the freezer or not at all.
So what goes straight in the freezer for you, Josh?
Bread.
Good. It's a very European thing to do. A lot of
Really?
Australians are very surprised at that. It's like their fresh bread.
I take that as sacrilegious. You're ruining the bread.
Nah,
I completely
bullshit.
agree with you, but I'm a single person and I go through a loaf in about a week and a half.
Thank you so
good.
much. This
Thank
is
you so
Josh and I
much.
high-fiving.
But Dion, you just gave yourself a high five.
No, I didn't. I did it with Josh.
Ruin the illusion.
Meat for me.
I don't put a lot of stuff in the freezer and most of it ends up in the fridge, but that means that sometimes obviously expired things remain in the fridge and it takes a while before you notice it.
Yep.
The biggest one that my housemate asked me recently, but it didn't even cross my mind, eggs that were in there, I actually didn't really know that eggs had an expiry date.
What?
Like, she was like, oh, your eggs have expired. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I looked on it and I was like, oh, December. I was like, oh, eggs expire. I didn't think they did.
There's
I
got to
thought
be
eggs just go.
There's got to be a way of being
Yeah.
able to test whether eggs...
100%.
Is there?
Do they not
It's the float test. So basically, like, you fill a bowl with cold water, place your eggs in the
I
bowl.
wonder what this is going to describe. I wonder what happens. Because it's the float test, mate. You don't need to describe it. For God's sake.
No, you need to know the result.
You've got absolutely no idea.
It's a bit like the Salem witch trials.
Yes.
And if the egg sinks, we must burn it.
The one thing that I get really confused with is deli meat. Like, I feel like deli meat... I feel like it can last for years. I feel like it's been in the supermarket for years, salami, and if I put it in my fridge and take it out 2 months later, it's so heavily preserved that it'll be there.
I think with cured meats, it's the smell thing. It's got to be a smell thing. Because with ham, after a while, there's a very palpable odour.
Ham there is, but I don't feel like ham is a preserved meat as much as salami and cabana is. I don't feel it's like the same meat factory.
Cabana is your gauge of cured meat.
You know what's great? I think Dion and I are both doing this. We're both looking to Christian as the cured meat
That's
expert.
right.
We're like, well, we know nothing about this. Mr. Italian over here, Mr. Basil Plant over here. He must know about cured meats.
Have you made your own sausages, cured meats,
Yes.
Yes.
the cured meats?
Of course. Yeah, of course. It's such a fantastic process. As much
Is
as
it though?
Yeah, it's
Do you hang it in a cupboard, do you?
not in a cupboard. We hang it in a garage.
Do you have a garage?
Yeah, it's in the cupboard.
Hi, welcome to Patchwork Travel. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I really need your advice. I'm wanting to go overseas, and I'm thinking that Southeast Asia is probably a good destination.
It's a beautiful city. And at this time of year,
So what's the food like there? What sort of food do they have there? What sort of thing do they like? Is it?
It can be warm. It can be watery, and it can sometimes be hard. So you'll have to chew it. So make sure you've gone to the dentist before you go. I know a great dentist around the corner, Dr. Blood.
But I've heard that it's quite inexpensive, so that's one of the reasons I kind of want to backpack around solo. Is it safe to backpack around? I'm thinking Vietnam. Vietnam's probably a good sort of spot. It's very touristy, I think.
Yeah, beautiful. So Vietnam, the benefit of Vietnam is that there's these lovely sidewalks that move for you, and it's so lovely for backpackers. So you can wear any type of backpack you'd like. You get on the conveyor belts, and they'll take you anywhere in this. And the best thing about a backpack is that you can fill it with all different types of drinks and Vietnamese delicacies and treats. So would you like to sign up?
No. So.
A few years ago, I went on this date with a girl, and it was that one date that is that moment. You have that moment with that person that you realise, this is it. This isn't going anywhere else. You know, we've been seeing each other for a few months or whatever, and we went out for brunch one day. She was telling about this story when she was a teenager, like when she was at home, sort of, 12 to 15 kind of age. And she was like, and we're talking about pets and stuff. She's like, oh yeah, and I had, there was this possum. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, there's this possum used to live at our house. It was kind of like a pet to me. And I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. She's like, yeah, because in my bedroom, there's just a hole in the wall that the possum used to live in. And I used to like feed it bits of apple and stuff through the wall. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
I think the
That's
most
great.
interesting part of that story is that you adjudged her as not being fit to date. That story is incredible, and it makes no sense. But why did you decide to not keep seeing? Because you knew she had screws loose.
No,
Do you think that she said that to get rid of you?
Yeah, it's a good point. Or to get rid of the possum. Have you ever been in a fight with someone?
No, never. I've always been super curious. And I've got a great thing because one of my mates, I've always been curious, and I was like, I wonder what I'd be like, how I would go. My mate wanted the exact same thing with his friend when they were like teenagers, and they organised a fight against each other because they were like, I want to know what it's like to be in a fight. So do I. They straight up did a full-on fight to find out what it'd be like.
Just the two of them, were the people surrounding them?
I think it was just the two of them, but it was like they just go for it.
Fisticuffs?
Yeah, I think so. Just because it was like that's the point of it. You go, I want to know what it's like to be in a fight, where you just absolutely go for it.
Christian, what do you think of that? That sounds ridiculous.
Of being a part of a fight. I was
being
once,
part of an organised fight.
There was... Oh, that is ludicrous. You shouldn't be friends with those
Surely
people.
you got into a fight every time you tried to get in a club between the ages of 18 and 25 anyway.
And the two stories that I have that follow this were both incidents out the front of clubs, funnily enough.
That's great.
The first one, which was the time that I was accidentally involved in a very one-sided fight, was when I was bottled at the back of the head.
This was recently, wasn't it?
It was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Shit.
So that was very unfair. And
That's the issue with it. It's unfair. I should have had a bottle as well.
And the second one was when a group of school friends, I saw them leaving a club, and they were in a melee with another private school group, and they looked at me and said, you have to join in because we went to the same school, and it's a brother bond.
Wait, same year level?
Same year level.
Yeah, okay.
But that wasn't enough of a reason for me to join in the fight.
Completely reasonable, yeah.
Because I saw these guys were really nailing each other, and I was like, oh, Christ almighty, right now I'm about to define the type of person that I am amongst a very large group of people.
Speaking of defining, how do you define a melee? What is a melee? What do you think it is? More than 4, 5 people, 6 people? Does it denote a certain amount of debauchery?
I reckon you need more than 4.
Okay.
I'd say, so where does it level with a fracas?
So the thing we yeah, that's right.
I worked out what defines a melee when you can't keep your attention on the whole fight. You have to jump around to thing. That's it.
Why did you call it a melee?
I just say it a bit differently.
Oh, thank you so much.
What do you say, melee?
Well, do you know what miele means in Italian? It's honey.
Honey.
Isn't that the dishwasher brand?
Exactly. And the
Miele.
stovetop arrangements.
My mistake.
Wouldn't it be amazing if that's the word? That's where the word melee came from. The white goods.
Someone got in a fight over some white goods.
So white goods came before fighting.
That's right.
There were no wars before white goods.
And now it's time for Monotoly. In Monotoly, all three of us attempt to engage in an incredibly monotonous and flaccid conversation set in a new location every week.
This week, we roll the dice and find ourselves in the butcher shop. Hello, I am after some
Hello.
meat, and I've got a dinner party on tomorrow, and I need to get sort of some meat, but I'm sort of thinking maybe I should go for silverside or topside or a ribeye or maybe a T-bone.
What type of meat do you want?
Well, I want a meat from a cow.
So you want beef?
Yeah, I want beef, yeah.
You want a big beef or little beef?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's big or little. I want a nice cut, so maybe I want a thick flank.
Go down to the hairdresser then.
Or no, but a flank or a blade, or maybe I haven't tried a tongue before.
Don't get tongue. We don't sell tongue here.
Why don't you sell tongue? You sold it last time I was here.
Yeah, we don't sell tongue today. No tongue. All the beef, they didn't speak.
Hello, excuse me. Hi. You guys taking a while. Do you mind if I jump in?
Yeah, sure. He doesn't seem to know much about the cows.
Okay. Hey, I'm hosting a dinner party, and I was just wondering what cut of meat I should get.
Actually, we've got a very lovely ribeye here for you. It's aged 40 days.
Oh, 40 days.
Yeah, it's got a lovely smoked dry rub on the outside.
Ooh.
I think it would be perfect for your dinner party.
Oh, that sounds great.
Sorry, but I was asking you just before about my dinner party, and I was
sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm first.
Yeah,
I'm
but
first
hang
in
on.
line.
I was suggesting all of these different cuts, and
I'm sorry, mate. We don't sell tongues here.
Yeah, well,
I told you already.
I'm quite happy to not get tongue. I'm just wondering if there's anything else.
It sounds like you are very tongue-tied, my friend.
No, I'm not really. I want a cut of. Well, you can
Excuse me,
continue
sir.
helping.
I'm in front of the queue
Okay,
now.
just
you
go
can
for
back
it.
off, okay?
Go for it.
Give me my meat, butcher. I don't go shopping very often, and I sort of came to this realization that I think that maybe I expect too much from my clothes. Mm-hmm. Like, I buy shoes very infrequently, clothes very infrequently. My netball shoes, which they get worn down a lot. They last about 4 years for me, and they shouldn't. I should be buying them way more quicker than that.
It's weird how I feel like our parents would have bought clothes and waited till they completely decomposed before buying new clothes. I know that my mum's mum knitted my mum's clothes for her and knitted these beautiful clothes. But like, I feel like my clothes, I'm such a consumer now that my clothes I don't wait till they decompose. I wait till I want to replace them because they're out of fashion or they don't fit me well.
Because I kind of follow the model of until it doesn't fit me or I just hate it, I'm like, it's still fine. I'll still wear that.
It's
okay.
a great attitude. That's the attitude that we should have.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Christian?
I don't have that attitude. I've got a very different problem than two of you tall, skinny humans. My weight fluctuates a lot. So basically, I've had one wardrobe that ranges from XL to medium.
Is it in order in the wardrobe?
But the most amazing thing is that
do you have the tags on the coat hangers?
The most amazing thing is that my weight progression up and down has kind of been cyclical with the cycles of fashion.
That's very handy.
Yeah, it's really handy. So when I was like a large, I'm back there now, and everything from then is kind of in fashion now. So it's great. Yeah, it's really fitting.
I'm just imagining your whole wardrobe has got like those coloured rings on it, like the green, the yellow, XL,
exactly.
medium.
Side.
And then you have to go to your mum and say, "Excuse me, do you have this in an extra large?"
I was at work the other day and I was moving my car and the traffic lights at the intersection, they'd busted, and so the orange was flashing. And it was kind of exciting because I had to move my car across the street. So I was like prepped, ready to go. It was St Kilda Road I was crossing, so it was pretty busy. But it's like, my fate is in my hands here. Like, I just need to go. So I was like looking for cars on the right, looking left. And I just kind of moved in the middle and then went again and I got through. And I was kind of like, this can work. Like, people just sort their shit out. And then so I parked my car and was walking back and crossed the road and everything, and everyone's kind of like half going, slowing down a bit, but everyone was making do and doing their thing. And I just kind of went back to work. And then about 15 minutes later, the people in the office noticed what was going on outside, and like, oh my God, and like everyone was up out of their desks staring at it, and they're going, whoa, and they're going, hey, look at that.
So good.
And then one of the guys got on the phone and called the cops or whatever and was like, you know, hey, there's traffic lights out. And I realised I didn't think for a second to do that.
Yeah.
I just went through and thought, someone's
got to fix this.
Someone knows about this.
I've always wondered who those people were that called the police. Do you know someone? So I've been in that position twice in my life where the lights have been blinking. It's happened, a lot more to me, but twice someone on a motorbike has unmounted, what's the word?
Dismounted.
Dethroned.
Dethroned.
He's dismounting. Dismounting here. No, he dismounted.
When you say the word dismount, I'm imagining someone on a motorcycle jumping off, doing a flip, and then landing on the back with his arms out.
Yeah.
with one of those gymnastic streamers in their hand.
So he's dismounted and started guiding traffic of his own accord.
That is incredible.
Twice that's happened.
I feel like he would have been trained to do that. Do you know what I love though? When you talk,
that's a good point.
Yeah, he must have been trained. There's no way he could
have been off-duty.
That'd be such a difficult thing to do to like ad-lib directing traffic.
Ad-lib.
It's like the improv thing. Yeah. We got cars on the left. Okay, I'm in a street. Okay.
You're blocking me.
I feel like traffic lights are the one way a government can show like perceived order. So I feel like by having traffic lights, people, I don't know. No, I think there is a theory to this. I think governments need to be in control of their people. And I
don't think anyone looks at traffic lights and goes, geez, this government's got it together.
No, but there is an element
They get angry when it goes red.
But there is an element.
And they take my taxes.
Fucking Labour, God. There is an element of control that there are some things in society where you kind of go, no, that's just there so that we have this. Because we have this view of civilization.
That's how Liberals get elected in the next election. They promise to deliver shorter red lights.
More traffic lights and shorter red lights.
It's the same thing, though, with fires and any other type of emergency. I'm never the one to jump in. Like, I always like to think, like you were talking about the fights, like you didn't want to jump in. Yeah. I was like, if there was a fire in a car or something, I'm like, I don't know if I'd go in and help the person. I think I'd be like, why don't I just let the fire brigade do it? Who are the strong, brave men who are prepared for this shit?
I think I crave that moment. Not so much at the fight. I think I crave the moment to be a hero. I'm waiting for that opportunity. I kind of, in my head... Do you think you'd go in? I think I'd go in. I think I'm kind of amped to go in.
Do you know what I think? I don't think you would.
No, but do you know why? Because I feel like I don't get enough thanks for the good deeds that I do. And I do good deeds.
Amazing.
Now, you know what? Saving someone from a fucking burning car, you cannot avoid saying thank you for that.
I want to know all these good deeds that you do. It's something I'm more interested in.
I take out my trash.
Yeah, by the way,
I wash my dishes.
You're completely invalidating everything by saying, I should get rewarded for it. I should get rewarded.
No, you know, it's come to the point in time where I'm just like, why aren't I being...
Probably because you're just taking out the trash and not doing things, Christian. That's probably the reason.
I'm imagining you walking down to the nature strip, just looking around for everyone going, see guys, I'm putting it in the bin. It's going in the bin.
I could have left it where it was.
And then trudging back to your house and another night of taking the trash out. No one appreciates me.
Have you guys ever called Crime Stoppers or anything like that?
No.
Always wanted to.
Because I realised, have you ever recognised one of those criminal drawings? And have you ever remembered it beyond the 2 seconds of seeing the identikit?
Such a good point.
And you just go,
It's such a good point. And when they announced that they're looking for a criminal, the criminal's on the run and they're sort of a Caucasian man and 180 centimetres of Middle Eastern Caucasian appearance, you're kind of like, what? I don't notice anyone. I really don't at all.
I don't.
I feel like it's just for that person that has an inkling that their brother has committed a crime. And they're kind of like, yeah, that's definitely him.
Got to be
description.
Friends. It's got to be friends.
Yeah.
Like if it was someone I knew, I would. A stranger, no chance. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
But that's the point of Crime Stoppers.
It's stop crime.
It's not meant to resonate with you.
What's the name? What's the name of those people that sketch the portraits, the paintings?
Sketch artists.
Sketch artists. Yeah. I feel like that profession is like weather people are completely unaccountable. We don't know. I want to see the before and after pictures. I want to see the people that are drawing these, and I want to see the actual criminal. And if they are completely different, fire them.
I really love your thing of when they catch these criminals, they put up, when they got the photos of them, they put up the original drawing. It's like, yeah, he did. That's pretty good. That's pretty accurate.
Or shame on you. We're completely off.
And
what happened?
And that should factor into sentencing somehow.
It's true.
It was a very bad picture of it, and we still got you. That's awful. That's awful.
And then to celebrate, they pin a tail on the criminal.
Really, really good. You know what's really, really good? Really, really good. You know what's really, really good?
You know what's really good? Having a mutual agreement with your neighbour that neither of you will talk to each other.
Really good.
Really good. You know what's really good? Having just enough milk left for one last cup of tea.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good.
Do you know what's really good? The Academy Award winning film Moonlight. Really good.
Really good.
Really good.
Really good. You know what's really good? Eating the entire way through a burger, maintaining a perfect bun to beef ratio.
Really good. You know what's really good? When you join a queue and it gets really long behind you.
It's so good.
Really good.
Really good. You know what's Thank you for listening to Welcome to Patchwork. I've been Dion.
I've been Christian.
And I've been Josh. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.